Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Saturday, August 20th, and this is the MLB DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look back at yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out, talking about my core plays for today. It is a 9-game main slate overall, and then going over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talking about my top GPP stacks for today. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. At the pitcher position, we went with Brady Singer at $8,600. Got to 37 points yesterday, so he was a hit. Then at second base, we had Marcus Semien once again, $2,400. Got to 3 points to give him a push. In that cheap price down spot, most days it's going to work out. Just a couple of days that we've done it hasn't been super big. Then at third base, we had Jose Ramirez, $4,300, got to 27.9 points. He was a pretty good hit. However, there was a lot of good third basemen on yesterday's slate, so he only ended up finishing as the fifth third baseman on the slate, but still a pretty good point scorer. And then in the outfield, we had Tommy Pham, $3,200, got to 25.7 points, so he was a hit in the second overall outfielder on yesterday's slate. Then we had Nick Castellanos at $2,800, got to 3 points. He was a push. So a little bit of a hit or miss day here. There's 3 hits, 2 pushes. If he had some other decent plays on yesterday's slate, had a pretty good chance of cashing. I didn't mention Paul Goldschmidt or Aaron Judge. I played more Goldschmidt myself personally, and it did pay off in a big way yesterday. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to the core picks for today. So we're going to start off at the pitcher position, going with a cheaper paydown option today in Dakota Hudson at $7,300. Only averaging about 20 fantasy points per game on the season. Been a hit or miss year for him, since he's kind of came back from the IL. Not been super great, but the last start was a little bit more promising. Goes against the Arizona Diamondbacks today. Not the most potent offense in the world. A team that he did pitch very well versus at the beginning of the season. At this $7,300 price range, we're only looking for that, 30, 32 points out of him. Anything else that he gives us is extra, and he did have 40 points versus this Arizona team earlier this season. Then at first base, we're going with his teammate in Paul Goldschmidt at $4,800. Averaging almost 14.5 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been on a monster tear as of late. And he goes against Madison Bumgarner tonight. And he is 25-473 with 4 home runs versus Madison Bumgarner in his career. So a lot of history, a lot of experience versus him. And some of that was versus Bumgarner when he was pitching better. So Paul Goldschmidt definitely has the advantage tonight. Then at second base, we're going down to Gene Segura at $2,800. Goes against the New York Mets. Looks like it's going to be David Peterson starting today. He's 3 for 7 with 1 home run versus David Peterson in his career. So some pretty good upside there as well. Potentially hitting leadoff or towards the top of the order. Might end up hitting 6. He's kind of been all over the batting order as of late. So just keep an eye out on that. But a pretty good play all around. Then we move down to third base with Nolan Arenado, another Cardinals hitter that we're trying to stack against Madison Bumgarner tonight. $3,900, averaging just under 12 fantasy points per game on the season. Coming off a pretty good game yesterday, and he is 17 for 65 with 3 home runs versus Madison Bumgarner in his career. As I mentioned with Paul Goldschmidt, a little bit of that history is going to be versus Madison Bumgarner when he was pitching better, when he was kind of that dominant pitcher. So it should be a favorable matchup for him as well. Then last but not least, in the outfield, we have Randall Grichuk at $3,100, averaging about 8.5 fantasy points per game on the season. Kind of been up or down, hit or miss here. Kind of the boom-bust play on today's slate, but he is 9 for 17 with 2 home runs versus Alex Cobb, the starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants tonight. So definitely a ton of upside there if he does end up hitting today. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, you have $13,100 remaining, just under $3,300 per player. So if you want to build a little bit more balanced build, definitely viable on tonight's slate overall. Or if you want to pay up for one other player, then you would have one other pay up option as well as Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Could be a pretty strong lineup overall. Just kind of banking on Dakota Hudson having a pretty good performance here. And I think there's a good chance that he does it tonight. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my article over at WeBetATS.com and talk about my top GPP stacks for today. So in terms of the stacks that we do have for today, going to start off with the St. Louis Cardinals going against Madison Bumgarner and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously, these hitters do have pretty good history versus him. Some of that history was in the past when he was pitching better, as I already mentioned with Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Definitely going to look at guys like them. Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman also have good history as well. Albert Pujols, if you want to go there, if he ends up starting, he's been very hot as well at a cheap paydown price tag. So definitely a lot of options in this lineup overall. Then we have the Colorado Rockies going against Alex Cobb. Some of these hitters do have very good history versus him, especially Randall Grichuk. CJ Cron does as well, but he's not been hitting as well as of late. So if you want to take that shot, you could definitely do that as well. Then we have the Dodgers going against Braxton Jarrett. Not a lot of history here, but Trey Turner's got a home run versus him in his brief career against him. A couple other guys are 1 for 1 versus him. So it could be a pretty advantageous matchup once again. And then last but not least, we had the Phillies. Last night when I was doing the research, it looked like it was going to be Trevor Williams pitching for the Mets. Unfortunately, it's going to be David Peterson. So not quite as advantageous of a matchup. Probably not going to go with Kyle Schwarber as much, although he's still in the cheat sheet. Probably going to switch that over to like a Rhys Hoskins, who does have some better history versus David Peterson overall. But with that being said, these are my core 5 picks as well as top GPP stacks for today, August 20th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate, whether it's someone from my core 5 picks, whether it's someone from my top GPP stacks, or whether it's a completely different player you guys think I missed. Definitely interested in hearing what you have to say. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS, mainly MLB DFS at this point in time, but once we get back around to the NFL and NBA regular seasons, I will be covering those two sports as well. And then with that being said, if you are a newer current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. Like I've been saying, I post up daily MLB DFS videos just like this. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.